All right, together we're going to try to understand this. Disney removes Peter Pan, Dumbo, and other movies for showing offensive stereotypes. We'll be right back right after this. If you want to support the show in a different way, you can go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. What is going on, guys? It's Adam aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we're going to be talking about something that boggles my head, and honestly, I'm trying to understand, and I'm going to try to understand it with you. Let me introduce my co-host, Dex, first. We'll get him in here, and then we're going to talk about this, because this is cancel culture, but it's all sorts of things wrapped up. Some of you might even agree with this one. After actually looking up why they took it off, I can understand why they're mad about it, but why get rid of it, though? That's why I'm confused about it. So what is going on, Dex? How are you doing, and what's going on?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam, and yeah, I am confused, too.
So Disney Plus removed Peter Pan and Dumbo, of course, and other movies. I don't know what the other movies are. I'm going to look into it, for having offensive stereotypes. One thing that gets me about this is that we are seeing so many things from our childhood basically being deleted and not available. But what ends up happening then when you end up deleting classics like this that formed and actually, I guess then people go, well, then you were formed by this, and that. This was a kid's cartoon. It was magical. Peter Pan was one of the most magical cartoons of most of our childhoods. Now, if you were too old for a Peter Pan, there was probably another version of Peter Pan that wasn't. It's been around for a long, long time. Dumbo was such a beautiful story. I mean, what are they going to do? Get rid of Bambi and Lion King? Because Lion King has a stereotypical voice of, somebody like, Mufasa. Almost every Disney movie has had this forever, and I guess what would happen if they just delete all of them? Then you don't have those in your repertoire. It says that the move comes after Disney placed warnings on certain children's movies for, quote, negative depictions and or mistreatment of people and cultures. I think this is going a little bit too far, but that's my personal opinion, and I am entitled to my personal opinion. Again, this is coming right on the tail end of them firing Gina, Cara Dune, off of the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian because she made a single tweet. Now, again, there's always going to be somebody going, well, that single tweet was the very nasty one. But that single tweet should have had a discussion. The woman should have had repercussions, if any. Maybe, go into an office and be told face to face. They just fired her and canceled it without even thinking about how it affects Star Wars. We don't care about Gina. We care about Cara Dune. Cara Dune is the character. Whatever she does on her free time outside of work, personally, I don't think should affect it. Unless she said something incredibly horrible, then fine. But the comparison that she made and then the action that happened is why she made that comparison. And it's a comparison that all of us are starting to see. We're all starting to see things getting, we're rewriting history. History has a purpose. Dex, what would we be without our history? What if you hit your knee on, or I guess what if you put your hand on the stove, it burnt you? Normally you remember you have a scar on your hand and you remember and you don't ever do it again. What if that scar disappeared, and what if the memory disappeared of that scar? You would repeat it.
We have to learn from our past, and if we ignore our past or throw away our past, then we're throwing away what we've learned. And I think, it doesn't make a lot of sense in my mind to just completely erase history or try to make like it never happened. You can acknowledge maybe the things that are in there that you don't like and maybe learn from those things. That's fine. But to just try to throw it away or act like none of it matters, that seems very, very wrong to me, and doesn't make a lot of sense in the right way, in the right mindset of how we progress as humans.
So this is a Gen Z thing, by the way. They say it is. I think it's the people in charge are just, It's all about control, any kind of thing. They're getting people riled up about things. The new Gen Z thing is to be offended. Free speech is no more. You can't say So Eminem was almost canceled, or they were trying to cancel Eminem about 4 or 5 days ago. And what it was is they took parts of some of his songs and said, "Can you believe these lyrics?" And everybody came out in his defense. Basically, a lot of people were like, okay, this is one where it's not going to work. He's not going to get canceled because he's, quote, the best rapper alive. Whether you believe it or not, it's kind of like a Michael Jordan. Even if you don't like Michael Jordan, if you don't like LeBron James, they have their title, right? They have one of the best in the world or the highest selling or whatever. They can do something else, but they're still going to have that title because unless it's a belt or something and they took steroids and they go, well, that belt is no longer yours, they're still going to keep that title. Now, if you try to cancel them because of their lyrics that nobody was offended by 10 years ago, and now all of a sudden they're offended again, how does that even make sense? People have made, with him, everybody came out and said, this is just stupid. People are now mad at Gen Z for doing all this cancel culture, for pulling at this stuff. Gen Z, which I thought was a weird thing that, Generation X, Generation this, and then Generation Z, from A to Z. Is this our last generation? Because it sure seems like it. We're talking about the softest generation ever, where anything and everything is offensive, but they don't realize you cannot be offended by everything and have free speech. There's no way around it. And what you are losing, Gen Z, is your freedom. And you don't even realize it. You are losing all creativity. You cannot be creative if you're worried about what you're going to say. If you are worried about what you are going to paint offending somebody, or if you are worried about your poem offending somebody, if you are worried about your book offending somebody, if you're worried about your movie offending somebody, then you will not create. We have to have that freedom of expression. We have to have this. The world around us is getting torn down, and I hope you share this with somebody and shake their head and say, this is the logic here. You're getting offended by everything because of something that happened before. We can't change the past. You can delete it, but guess what? It's going to happen again because they didn't have that past to learn from. Dex, this is one of the scariest things that we are all seeing, and everybody thinks that the majority is agreeing in this. This is a few people on Twitter that are making these corporations change, and we don't know if these corporations are actually part of it. A lot of the big debate about the whole Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars thing is that they have their own kind of clique help on Twitter to decide things, because they're actually using Twitter to decide like it's a survey, instead of pulling in, people and surveying what they think about this, or, hey, do you guys think we should fire this person? They're going off of what social media is doing, and Twitter and everybody else is like, hashtag this every single day. We're canceling people left and right. It is scary.
Well, and we just talked about in a recent episode on our main show, we talked about how the Chinese government has over 1 million people that are creating and controlling this type of information. So I tend to wonder if we say this like, hey, this is not the norm, this is not what the majority wants, but all of a sudden it happens. How is it happening? Well, is it being orchestrated? Can it be orchestrated? Is it a small number of people that can make a big amount of noise that actually controls something like this?
So to explain what Dex is saying, so whereas, say, a company like Facebook has 38,000 employees dedicated to trust and safety. So those are 38,000 people that can go in. If they see something messed up, they can, flag it, remove it, everything else. China, on the World Wide Web, they have 1 million. 1 million people that can go in and look at these things, and basically it's a propaganda machine. And what they can do is they can swerve things the way that they want. How can they do so? Because think about it. If you see something and you see 100 of the same comments saying a certain direction, you're going to think, oh, everybody thinks this. And then everybody goes with the flow. Everybody jumps on the wagon. But it's not okay. People are scared. Everybody is scared. I know that you don't realize how scared you're going to be, because guess what? You're not going to be able to say anything against I know normal people. One of my good friends that I've known for a very long time, he's a very normal person. He doesn't really, he's skeptical about everything, and he He thinks that he's, you know, watching all the news because he watches all 3 channels, right? He'll watch, you know, this side, and a little bit of the middle. But doesn't spend hours actually looking into each thing that's reported, right? And then, you know, everybody thinks that they are well educated right now because they think they're doing a ton of research. They're not actually doing like footnote college research. Half of these people didn't even go to college. They're not actually doing real research. They're watching a couple videos here and there, and they're listening to somebody who sounds smart and agreeing with them. That sounds like that. That's the view I'm going to take. I'm going to take this person's view and I'm going to repeat it. It's an echo chamber. And what those algorithms and everything that's doing is they're feeding you more of your own thing to keep you on. We're all thinking the same thing inside, with a few exceptions, and it's making it look like everybody is behind this. Think about this. Disney Plus removes that, and then you've got over here, like, you know, Netflix wouldn't remove cuties. Cuties had 11-year-olds shaking their booty. Like, what? How is this? Remove Dumbo, but don't remove cuties. I know that they're separate entities, right? But this is where we're at. There's no fuss about this happening, but it's all the fuss happening to this. What is the difference? It's the powers that be, the powers that get behind it, the powers that put power behind certain things. Hashtags go right to the top. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been positive things, like positive hashtags behind the wrong side. And then what do? They'll take that same positive thing, the momentum, say it's people on this side that have a hashtag that has momentum behind it. And what they'll do, the company will actually take that hashtag and then rework it, put it at the very top so you can see it. You're seeing that hashtag, but you're seeing all 45 pages that nobody's going to ever go past that first 45 pages of every negative comment and use that same hashtag, only reverse it and flip it. Everything is being altered. Everything is being manipulated right now, including you. So just remember that. Dumbo, all of this, we can talk all day and say we're offended by it. What are we going to do to change this? We need to stop cancel culture. What do you think, Dex?
You know, I kind of think about, why is it happening, and if this is being done from a nefarious point of view, is there an end game in mind? And in my mind, I sort of think of it, if you can get a culture to break down, you know, whether it's to lose moral fiber, to break, to all of a sudden completely become distraught with everything that's going around them on both sides, I think you can really create such chaos in a culture that can be used as a weapon by someone else, right? So,
yes, but here the thing is there are real things in here. I'll explain to you why Peter Pan has them pretending to be in native costume, and it's over the top, offensive to native culture. I don't argue that. Again, you're going to see things in your lifetime that offend you. But those people did it. It's already done. It's set in stone. You can't stop this kind of stuff from happening. We can't just pretend it didn't happen. Aristocrats shows a Siamese cat, which is overly Asian. Which, by the way, I've seen. I have friends that are on YouTube right now. One of them is over 1 million subscribers, who is Asian, who can't even do videos on his own channel because they said he was stereotypical. Doing his, he would pretend to be his dad. He pretends to be, the Asian persona. He would even go through drive-thrus and things like this and be so over the top, right? He can't even do his own form of comedy because it is considered stereotypical, even though he is that, right? But besides the point, the Siamese cat and Aristocrats, they're getting rid of that. Dumbo has, of course, the Jim Crow part in it. I get why, but I don't see how they can just wipe it from existence. Pepe Le Pew, the old cartoon, I get that. Pepe Le Pew was always going up to the female cartoon and grabbing. We see that in today's movies and videos and even Disney shows. What's so funny is they are revamping iCarly when there is a scene in iCarly just done a couple years ago that has the exact same thing. They show an episode of this guy chasing iCarly around, and she's saying, no, 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 and it's straight up a Pepe Le Pew scene. There's a channel called Sloan with the 4. It's like SLO4N. He does a whole thing on Nickelodeon, on Disney, and this whole thing around it. There was a bunch of producers that were, no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Leonardo DiCaprio, all those kids were in Hollywood. It's horrible stuff. So it's like they're turning a blind eye here and then saying, yeah, let's get rid of that. Let's put this on the wall and pop. While avoiding all of this other stuff. Horrible stuff. What do you think about this? I want to start a discussion here, a conversation. Let's talk about this. Do you disagree with me? I would love to hear it. You can go and find this article and more, web-only content, too hot for TV, on our website, marfooglenews.com. Dex, is there anything you want to say in closing?
The conversation. Leave a comment down below. Make sure you like, subscribe. For the new folks, subscribe. We do have a nightly live call-in show, so stick around. There's more on our channels, Marfoogle News and Marfoogle TV.
Tonight we'll be doing a live show where you can call in, of course, at 224-400-MARF. Check us out. It's, again, a really fun time. Over 5,000 people watch live. Average of about 50,000 viewers per day. So make sure to come check us out. We are definitely independent. We do not have a multi-channel network. We do all of this by ourselves, and we put a lot of work into it. So we would highly appreciate a like if you can. If you can. That's of course a question, not an order. So thank you. Much love. Be safe. Be free. And Marf out. If you guys want to protect yourself against EMP, I would highly recommend going with the same route that agencies are going with right as we speak. Of course, EMP Shield has been Keystone military tested. It will ground the signal before frying your devices. And by devices, I mean all sorts of devices. Talking about they make a device for your car. They make a device for your generator, for your home, for your RV, for your boat. There's all different devices. You can go to marfooglenews.com/EMP and, of course, protect yourself against all 3 phases of an EMP, including their car model, which is their most popular and can be put in and installed in about 5 minutes. So then you are not stuck if the lights go out. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/EMP. Thank you guys for supporting us. Small commission goes to us, and you guys get a huge discount. So it works for everybody.
Feed the haters to the alligators. Your way or the highway, see you later. B.O.D. is the homie and Mr. Vader. If it wasn't for you, I would never made it. Whole city's covered by the cremated. Now they listen to what we were saying. Doesn't matter if the manufacturer or created. Put now, put later, responsibility and underrated. They just won't say it. Seal the cities like the bricks they be laying. Twitter deaths is now displaying. School shut down and they just ain't playing. People panicking, freezing like a mannequin. This we be smashing them. Bibliography is bagging them. Frugal family is a force like Anakin. First Amendment, we be packing them. Family values, we ain't lacking them. Gold and silver, better be stashing them. No point to go platinum.